Brazil, that's Simple Minds from their brand new album, also on a new record label for them. And from Simple Minds, Jim Kerr is here. Before we get into talking about the music on the LP, let's sort out this label change, because you were on Arista for some time.
Yeah.
What actually led to the end of your relationship?
We spent 2 years with Arista. In that time, the company changed policies and personnel like so many times that we couldn't get any rapport at all. Us being up in Scotland as well, I don't think helped the situation, because we weren't available to go in and get to know the people and things. And I think they just didn't understand the band towards the end, and kind of vice versa, because I do think it is like type of people industry, and you have to have something going. And it was like we're just arriving occasionally and complaining and moaning, so things went from bad to worse. They spent a lot of effort and time in the first year in the band, money as well. I don't know, along the road it went kind of sour when there was a changeover. Ariola came in and took over Arista, and people left, new people came in.
Do you feel that you have some blame as well as a band?
Yeah, I don't think we're the most articulate people out. Also, I think we're a bit kind of, I don't know, insular. I think it stems from a basic shyness, but anyway, we had to get out towards the end.
I remember talking to you a couple of years ago when you had albums out on Arista, and talking to you then about the fact, that what you were producing musically was sort of verging on commercial, trying for something new.
Yeah, it's still going on. We're still basically interested in new sounds, really. Each album we try to take a different step.
You're not a typically Scottish-sounding band, because there is a sort of Scottish feel.
No, we're not. We're not patriotic at all. We see ourselves as I would say, international band, to tell the truth, because our records get played first before they were here. They were getting played on radio and discos and things in Europe, Germany, France, Holland, and we've got a good following over there. In fact, that's when things went bad with Arista, we kind of retreated to Europe for a year and got on with it, really.
Then you retreated to the fields of Wales.
Yeah.
And recorded this album.
Yes.
In Rockfield.
No, actually, at the beginning and the backing tracks were Rockfield, but then we got a bit nearer to the city when it came to the end. It was getting too wild in the country. We also worked for the first time with a new producer.
Steve Hillage.
Yeah. We were keen to change production. We'd done 3 albums with John Leckie, and more change for change's sake as opposed to any criticism. And the names that had been suggested just seemed fairly obvious to us, like production, bands who are apparently in the same kind of field. And we didn't know actually who we wanted to work with, but one day we were in the Virgin office and we heard these backing tracks getting played on a cassette system. And we asked who was responsible for the production, and it was Steve.
Here's an example of Steve Hillage producing the band. It's Simple Minds from the new album, and This Earth That You Walk Upon. Simple Minds. The album is called Suns and Fascination. That's a track called This Earth That You Walk Upon. Jim Kerr, that album produced, as you say, by Steve Hillage.
Yeah, I knew his image, and I knew the slight contrast between
the sort of tie-dyes and long hair, that's the image.
But I mean, when it comes to sound, we're the kind of band that all prejudice like that gets cast aside. So unfortunately, selected members of the press give Mr. Hillage a hard time, but when it comes to sound, we think he really done a good job for us.
In some tracks, there's almost a sort of Joy Division doominess creeping in.
Yeah, there's a trance thing going through it. I mean, with albums that we do, only so much is prepared before we go in, and then we see what happens. But it occurred to me halfway through that there was this kind of trance thing going the whole way through, a kind of dreamlike thing with the repetition and the atmosphere of a lot of the songs. To tell the truth, I only get to see the album that's 6 months after it's been out, because we're so much inside it. you know, that you just can't see it from the outside. And I found with the other albums that maybe in a few months' time I'll be able to articulate a bit more.
Are you aware of one thing, though, that it is a remarkably different statement from your previous stuff?
Yeah, we need change. I mean, that's our whole kind of inspiration. We get kind of influenced by traveling and just all sort of things. You know, lyrics wise and everything. It's a whole a collage, taking words from everywhere, things people say, and you know, all different kind of arts and things, and putting it together, trying to match the words with the atmosphere of the music. It's like pictures, really. We see every track as a kind of painting.
You obviously have seen an awful lot and been to an awful lot of places, because I know for the first few thousand copies there are 2 LPs.
Yeah. This time, now that everyone in the band is beginning to write, there was like a lot more ideas. In fact, towards the end we had even more ideas, but just didn't have the budget to carry it on. But and we thought, you know, once we'd done these backing tracks, we thought, why keep them in the can? Because we knew with the time and everything that they couldn't go on the one album, and we tried to devise a way where we could get it out. And by doing it this way, it means that we haven't got things locked up, because we're not very good at going back to like backing tracks in a few months' time, because we'll have new ideas again. It's good to clear it out.
I'm amazed at your longevity as a band, because so many bands give up, you know, and you're still there.
Yeah. Well, but so many bands make duff albums, really, as well.
Well, I know you absolutely abhor going out live and you hate live performances, but are you actually going to drag yourselves out to perform in front of the public soon?
Yes. Tomorrow night in Futurama, which is in Bringley Hall in Stafford. It'll be the first date we've played in Britain for a long time, really.
Right.
And then the end of the month we play 7 dates in Britain, and that's the start of a tour that's going to take us to the States and Canada, Australia, New Zealand, blah, 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 blah.
What do you like live? Do you sound as you do on record?
Much more backbone and spirit. And it's very intense. But yeah, there's still the sophistication's there and the grandeurs there, but not at all pomp.
Here's a song that maybe is based on touring. 70 Cities as Love Brings the Fall.